Hi guys, John with you, and it's time now for another build series. In this build series I'll be building the ITALERI, yes, ITALERI kit. It's the Tiger P Elephant, okay, kit number 211. Like I said, it's from ITALERI. But this build series is going to be just that small bit different, just slightly different. I'm going to do this build series purely aimed at the beginner, the total model virgin, okay, but I'm going to build it the way I normally build it. There's going to be no difference there, but basically I'll be showing the tools used, not only showing the tools but showing literally how they're used. Simple as that. From the basics, okay. So it could parts of it probably could say that it's a bit redundant, a bit stupid. Everybody knows how to use scissors, but it's literally going to be like that. Going to show you how to use each single piece that I'm going to be using in each step, and I'm going to show it like that, and I'm going to build up the thing and sort of step by step and show you different techniques, how I do them, and how I get there, and put them all together then, and you'll end up with how I build kits. Simple as that. Because loads of people have asked me, how'd you get to there, how'd you do this, how'd you do that? Rather than just explaining how I did it, I'm going to show people, okay. They're not going to be big long step by step explanations. They're not going to be technical, they're not going to be difficult. The parts and products and anything I use is going to be the basic things that you can don't necessarily have to go to a model shop for. Some you might have to, say things like the Tamiya glue. Obviously you can't buy that down in your local hardware store, but most of the other things, believe it or not, you can. Okay, most of the other things you can, between your ordinary hardware store or your local chemist or drugstore if you're in America, okay, and artist supply stores as well. So we're going to start off with the construction, then we're going to go into the painting, and then into the weathering. Okay, so let's go down to the bench. Excuse the wiggle with the camera, but we're going to go down to the bench now, and we'll start off with the basic tools, and then we're going to actually start with the kit. Okay, you'll get the gist as I start kind of moving along with things. Okay, so bear with me. Yeah, bit of wiggling here with the camera, trying to get the right angle, but as usual, nothing ever goes really straightforward for me. Right, so some of the basic bits and pieces that are some things that are handy, some things that are essential. Okay, things that are handy: a cutting mat. You might pick them up in any artist supply store. They'll save your workbench. They come in many sizes. I have two here. As you can see underneath, I have a bigger one. Okay, it's gone past its sell-by date. It's well used and well battered, bruised and bleeding. This is I think it's an A3 or an A2, and then it's an A3. Then was this one here, and you can also get them in an A4 size as well. Right, some other things you will need, right, some basics. You'll need one of these, right. Now you don't need the actual modelling ones. This isn't a modelling sanding stick. This is purely out of the cosmetics counter from my local Boots. It's two-sided, as in there's a reasonably rough on one side and a reasonably smooth at the other. Don't ask me the grit, because I don't know, because it didn't say so on the package. But I know that one side is rough and one side is reasonably smooth, but still, it's still got that sandy grittiness to it. Very handy item. We'll show you how these are used in a minute. Okay, you'll also need one of these, right? It's just a standard hobby knife. Okay, you can get them then where you can sort of change the blades. There's numerous different types, okay, numerous different styles and blade and everything else. This one has a kind of a curved blade in it. You can also get them sort of like that with a straight blade, which is, say, the more common one used for modelling. It's just that I don't have any those type blades, whereas I popped in a new blade there the other day into this one. So I know this is super sharp. This one isn't so sharp, but it's handy for scraping, which is something we may do later on. I don't know, depends on the kit, right? Something you will also need is one of these, right? Now, this is getting on a bit, but you don't need one set to this quality. This is a Zuron, but any wire snips, okay, sprue cutters, even say a nail clippers will do, but as long as it's sort of the that type one. You can get little nail clippers. They're grand for starting off with. The only thing about the nail clippers is that the steel and the ends aren't as strong as the ones that are sort of designed for electronics and wire cutting and things like that. So you can pick up one of these. You can get them on eBay for a couple of quid. Dead handy to have, right? Now, one of the essentials you will need is glue, right? Now, I call it glue, but technically it isn't really a glue. It's a chemical compound, and what it basically does is it welds the two sets of plastic together. It's a kind of it melts them, welds them together, right? There's loads of different types. This is Tamiya's brand. It's called, as you can see there, Tamiya Extra Thin. You can get Tamiya Extra Thin Quick Drying as well. I bought it once or twice. Didn't really like it myself. Other people love it. You'll find what works for you after a time. But I do recommend you get a bottle of that. Okay. Also, another good handy one to get is this stuff here. You'll find it, and that's basically the type of bottle. It comes in a larger bottle, and then this is the shorter one. There we go. There's the larger one. Right. So you got Big Brother and Little Brother. That one's empty, so I don't know why I still have it in there. And what it is, this is the sticker's missing off it, unfortunately. It's made by Revell, and it's called Contacta Professional. It's a slower setting glue than the Extra Thin, and it's a bit thicker as well. Okay, comes with a nice needle applicator. Dead handy for getting into little places like that, just where you need that little bit of time for working. Dead handy for, say, individual link tracks. Anything that's got, say, like a barrel, two-piece barrel. When it comes to aircraft, it's handy for adding the two sides together, because this stuff will dry off too fast, whereas here you've got that bit more working time with it. Okay, so that covers the glues, and believe it or not, that's basically enough tools to actually build the kit. Okay, painting is another thing. We'll get on to the painting parts when we reach that. Okay, so next thing you'll need is probably the most obvious, and in this case, this is the one I'm going to use. It's the my Revell Elephant. It's a kit. Now, it doesn't matter what kit you use. The kit part of model building, believe it or not, is probably the most irrelevant. Simple as that. The subject matter doesn't really matter. It's the techniques are all the same, as in for building. So whether it's a ship, an aircraft, armour, motorbike, car, no matter what you build, what I'm about to show you basically in this series will get you through the basic steps, and then it's down to say watching other people's videos, watching other little techniques and things, and you can build up your own little skill set then from that. You might take one or two things from me, you might watch another modeler, you might pick up another idea then or two from him that my idea would be different, but you find it harder, whereas his idea might be easier for you to do. So you build up your own sort of technique, and that's what you go. So let's get started and we'll see what we do, right? So we open the box, and as always you start with the instructions. Okay, so there's your instruction sheet. Now I'm just going to bring the light down a bit better here. I'm going to change that around a slight bit because it's not quite doing what I want it to do. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! Right, so you got your instruction sheet. Handy thing about the instruction sheet is it'll give you step-by-step information on how to build the kit, right? So, not all instruction sheets give you this, which is a sprue map. ITALERI sometimes then don't number put numbers on the sprues, so sometimes you have to refer to your sprue map. On the last kit I built, there was no numbers whatsoever on the sprues, and literally had to refer to the sprue map. The more complicated kits you get that would have, say, 10 and 20 and even 30 sprues, each sprue will be marked A, B, C down along the line, and then you've got, say, numbers then for your parts. On your instruction sheet then you'll be given, say, this part here is piece 24A. So you go to the A sprue, you look along the line, you find piece number 24 and you cut it off. Okay, so we're going to get started on this, right? Now, as you can see, those instructions are as busy as hell, right? There's loads there on that. So you say to yourself, right, what am I going to start with? Okay, what do I start with? So we'll get the basic box built, right? Now, I'm not going to start with the figures, but I am going to start with the suspension. Right. Oh, another thing. This is more of a handy item. This is something that I use more than anything else. Is one of these. Okay. Highlighter pen. Now, if you're a student, you will already have them. If you're an older person, go out, mug a student, and rob his highlighter pen. Throw the rest of the bag away. But all you want is his highlighter pen. Dead handy. And what you do is you mark off basically what you have done. Okay, so for this I will need I need piece 10, which are these little circle pieces. Okay, little grommets or whatever they're called. I will need a piece 12 and piece number 1. Right, so we're going to start in the back and work forward with the 3 suspension pieces, right? So when you see it there, I need piece 10, which are the little grommets, see? Piece 10, I need one of them. I need piece 12, I need one of them. And I need piece 1. Now, I'm not going to do this literally for every single step along the way, but I'm going to show you the first step and literally how you get about it, what you do, and how to use the tools. Simple as that, right? So there's the sprue, and if we look along, that is marked there, piece number 10. So I know I need one of them. With your cutters, use the flat side of the cutters, right? So you can see them, they're chamfered, right? So the flat side of your cutters, and snip. Dead handy then, turn the piece around, hold it with your fingers so it doesn't pop away, because they do pop away. Take off your piece, and there we go. Yep. There is piece number 10. We'll put that down. Now I need piece number 12. Okay. Piece number 12 is one of these. Again, check the number. See, piece number 12. I need one of those. So again, the flat side, right in as close to the piece as you can. Cut. This is a bigger piece, so if it does pop off, you'll find it easy enough. Cut and cut. Let it come away. Piece number 12. And I also need piece number 1. Oh, piece number 1 is one of these here. Right, again, we'll check our number. Come on. Focus, camera, focus, do your job. Camera doesn't want to focus. But take it from me, this is piece number 1. So again, like I said, flat side, snip, snip, and take off our piece. Now, when I was a kid, I used to go straight away and stick them onto the kit. We're going to do that a little bit better now. This is where our little sanding stick comes in. Right, we take up our piece. Now, me being blind as a bat, as you can see I wear glasses, but these then little things stick onto the end of my glasses and give me that little bit of extra eyesight. Okay. Now, I use the, don't need to take off that much, so therefore the finer side will do. Always going just in one direction. Don't have a tendency to do it that way. It just seems to take off that little bit more. Okay? You only want to just smooth out that. And what you're removing is, you're removing the any bit of excess plastic that was left behind from the sprue gate. Okay? So there's our piece 10. Then our piece 12. Now if you can see that there, you can see the pieces on it. Now excuse me, don't be looking at my dirty fingernails, feck off. Okay? But look at the piece. You can see the little marks there from where it was left on the sprue. Right? And the sprue basically is that big sheet that all these pieces are on, right? So again, what we're doing is we are removing those marks. Okay. Now if they protrude just out a little bit, now they don't in this one because I kind of cut them close enough, but just say they were sticking out just a little bit too much, that's where your hobby knife would come in. Alright, and lightly remove the piece, because not always can you get in close. Sometimes you might have to take off a little bit too much, well, a little bit more of the sprue than you actually need, shall we say, to get into the piece. Okay, and again, give it a bit of a clean off. Give it a rub with your finger. That'll remove any, say, the dust and stuff. If it's going to be a flat piece, give it a little circular rub like that. That'll remove any kind of excess flash. Now flash, you hear people talking about flash. Well, flash is the excess plastic that would be squished out when the mould is done, because the mould is basically a two-piece mould. Put it together, it's got a couple of little holes in it, they pour in your molten plastic, leave it set, then they open the mould. The older the mould gets, because the more times it's been used, the fit isn't exactly perfect after, say, a number of years. And what will happen is you'll have little bits of spill out, and you end up with little bits of extra plastic around the edges. If you get that, again, with your smooth side of your sanding stick, just remove them off. And again, quick rub around and rub it off with your finger. So there we go, there's our cleaned off piece. Now as you can see, those marks and those extra bits of plastic have been removed. Okay. Now we come on to something like this here, right, where you can see the mould line, the mould seam See that? Right down along the centre there, and sort of the same then on the underneath side. Now we don't really want that seam, because this piece would be a solid piece of metal, so we don't want that. So what we do is, again, circular motion works grand for these. And we remove our mold seam. Okay, and there's our little sprue gate mark. That's cleaned off as well. See here, we've got our little sprue gate. Whoa, come on, focus camera. One of the reasons I want to upgrade my camera, for little incidences like this. Alright, that's in place now, and see what I mean about it kind of sticking up a bit. That might damage my my sanding stick. So to increase the life of my sanding stick, I will use the knife and just trim that down. Taking the time, don't try and take it all off in one go. Smallest little bit up wrong side of the sanding stick there. Alright, and again, little bit of a blow job to it, clean it off. Now, when it comes to say in here, I can't get the sanding stick in there. Okay, it's very, very hard for me to get it in there. Now you can, there's a number of things you can get. You can get, say, thinner sanding sticks, thinny sticks they call them. If you want to be precise, go off and get yourself a set of them. They're dead handy, they're nice and thin, and you can kind of get in there. For this I'll use the knife again, right? Like I said, very, 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 very carefully scrape away in the inside of that. Remember I said then I use the duller ones for a bit of scraping. Don't use your good sharp blade, but use a duller blade. A little bit of extra scraping away. And that's seam line is as good as removed it. Okay, so again now we clean off the other bits. So now our pieces are cleaned off and they're ready then to attach. Okay, so we have our base piece here, and like I said, we're going to start from the back to the front. Look at the instructions. Alright, we're not going to work on the big one, so it's the first hole. Alright, there, here we go, it's the first hole. We've got this and this. Now this has us this is us putting that there, but obviously it's just going to fall through. Alright, it was too big, so just leave that off there for the second. It will come in handy at a later stage, and we will see how. Alright, so we get our piece. Alright, make sure we have it, what direction is it? Obviously it's that way, showing that the bottom, see, it's that shape. Alright, there's the shape of it. So the flat bit to the bottom, the other bit through the hole. So we go through the hole, that bit to the bottom, that clips in there nicely. Right, So now we're going to glue it. We're going to glue that in place. Great thing about Tamiya Extra Thin, which is the glue we're going to use, it works in a thing called capillary action. And if you don't know what that is, that's where that old student that you've tied up in the basement comes in handy again. Alright, you've already robbed his highlighting pen, and like I said, you can sort of kick him down the street or hold on to him, handy for a couple of technical things. Capillary action. Before you kick him down the street, ask him what capillary action is. Basically the glue is sucked in. Right, so little touch of glue on the edge. And you can see it there. And you see it being sort of sucked in around the piece. Don't flood it, you don't want too much of it in there. But you don't want too little either. So that's about perfect, that's about enough. Okay, sets quite quickly, and as you can see, that's nicely in place. Right, next piece we're going to add this piece here. So back to our instructions again, and find out which way is this located, or which way does it look. So it's showing the hole there. Now that looks kind of like what we have. No, it doesn't. That doesn't look... Oh, yes, because we're missing piece number 2. We forgot piece number 2, see? Piece number 2 goes on the bottom of that. Okay. So we got to get ourselves piece number 2. Back to our sprue. Where's piece number 2? Piece number 2. Piece number 2. Piece number 2 is one of these big doohickeys here. Right. So we got piece 2 and piece 4. So we need a piece 2. Alright. We need one of them. Again with our sanding stick. Clean it off there. See that big ugly sprue gate there? It looks ugly. Like I said, and remove it then. I know you heard me saying don't do that way. Depends on how much you've got to do. But always sort of finish it off, say in the one direction. Turn your piece then around like that. But always go in the one direction, so you're kind of making everything nice and even. Alright, give it a check out for seam lines. Now, as you can see here, we've got a bit of a seam line down the centre of that. Right, the seam line down the centre of that. Again, scrapey. That removes all that. Now these pieces probably won't be seen. I'm sort of might be a bit of overkill here, but I always do it anyway. Kind of extends the life of the build, and I like doing all this kind of scrapey and cleaning off and things like that. It's all part of it. The main thing is don't rush, never rush. Take your time. If you're in a hurry, do something else, then don't go modelling. It's not the thing for you if you want to rush it. Okay, so we get our thing. Now piece number 2 is there like that. Okay, so it's piece number 2 is that way, isn't it? Yes. See what I mean about the instructions? Sometimes the instructions aren't all that good. Right, here's piece number 1, piece number 2. Ah, look, it gives us piece number 6 and piece number 5 as well to make up one of these things. That is something that I should have shown you earlier. See? Little sub-assembly here. Instead of just going straight to thing and straight onto that. So, that whole saying, read the instructions before you start. And there's a classic example as to why. Because you're over and back and over and back and over and back. I'm doing the sort of each thing about 5 and 6 times when there was no need to. Right, so all I'm missing now is piece number 5 and piece number 6. It's just little covers, right? Oh, come on, back again. Back to our thing again. This is fun anyway, isn't it? Okay, so there's a 5. Right, piece number 5. And piece number 6. Where are piece number 6? Where the 6? It doesn't appear to be on this sprue. It might be on the other one. No, it is not. So where is piece number 6? It is piece number 6. So back to our sprue map. We will check out, see. Ah, these are piece number 6s. Yes, one of these. I said 103. That's for that little piece there. Oh, see. Always double check. So piece number 6, one of these. And there we go. So we're back to the cleaning off again. Find where the sprue attached to it. There we go, nice and small piece there. Yeah, I put my instructions away as well. Right, as we saw, that goes into there. Okay, there piece. Piece number 6 goes in here, so we can pop that in. Little bit of glue, let it get sucked down. There we go. Then give it the last little push in. Okay. Then we've got piece number 2. Goes that way. This piece goes onto there. That goes there. Now, do you glue that? No, don't glue it. Then we've got this little cap here. Okay, again, clean off where it joined the sprue. Like I said about with this piece, I don't know whether that's got to be glued or not yet. Right? Personally, I don't. It doesn't show that it's glued together, so don't. But if you need to glue it later on, at a later stage, it's quite easy to do. Right, so let me attach this piece here. I'll pop that off again now. Seem to have an extra. Is that supposed to be sticking down at one side? It's not. See what I mean? So I'd call that now a little bit of flash. See the extra little piece sticking down? Again, stop looking at my dirty fingernails, look at the flash. Right, and what the flash is this here. This little extra piece of plastic. That is the flash. The easiest way to remove that is like that. Okay, so now we've got to attach this piece. And it's telling us to put that over that onto that. So judging by the piece, it doesn't really give you that much info, but you can see that obviously you've got to join that to that. So a little bit of glue there, and as you can see the way it gets kind of pulled along. That's where that sort of this liquid glue is so freaking handy. I remember when I got into modelling, we didn't have that. We did not have this stuff here. We had stuff in a tube that was a freaking nightmare. I think I have an old tube of it there. I won't go looking for it now, but I will go looking for it and I'll show it to you later on. Purely for the sake of anybody's getting into the modelling now. Alright, so we just got glue on the cover. Don't glue in there because we got a little bit of movement there. Alright, so there we go. There's one part of our suspension, or suspensione. Okay, so now we've got that component made. Finally got that made. Alright, so that goes through there like that, and this is where our little piece number 10 comes into play. That should fit over that. See it? Can you see it there in place? Okay, there's our little ring. Carpet monster. Fuckity Mac fuck. Oh, brilliant. Spotted it. I'm lucky that I don't have a carpet. I do have a laminate floor, which is dead freaking handy at times. Okay, so pop it over the oaky bob, push it down into place. Tiny bit of glue there, just on that. And there's our one suspension piece. Okay, so you've got movable suspension. Okay, so that's one piece done. Now I'm going to carry on like that. You've seen how to cut off the pieces. You've seen how to figure out your plans. In other words, you go straight into that and you say, piece number 1, but that doesn't look like that. Or piece number 2 goes in there, and then you realise that here at the side that it got a sub-assembly. Now, some of the more modern kits will have sub-assemblies at the side, and they'll say, do these steps first to make this piece, and then put that piece on. These old instructions, not so easy and straightforward. So now we're on to our highlighting pen. Okay, so what we've done is we've used piece 1, we've used piece 6, we've stuck it in there, we've used piece 5 and piece 2, we attached all of them, and we've made up that little sub-assembly for the 1-2 piece. Right, so there's a 1-2, there's a 3-4, and here's a 3-4 again. So they're slightly different, so we need one of them anyway, but it's basically the same thing in reverse. So when we go on to the next one, we're going to build this side, not that type, right? So we've done that piece. We've done our piece 12. We've stuck in our piece 10, right? We've put them all through, and there we go. That's marked off. So now I know. And if that is all I do this evening, I put my instructions away and I go back into it tomorrow. And I take out my instructions and go, right, where am I? Alright, well I've done that anyway. So I'll move on then from there. Okay. So that's it for tonight's lesson. Tonight's update on the first build update. I'll carry on now and I'll get the rest of the suspension done. I'll get the wheels done with the hubcaps and all that. Now with this one, they are steel wheels, so I can actually fit them. If they were rubber wheels, you know, as in they've got a rubber ring around them, I wouldn't go ahead and actually fit the wheels, because when it comes then to painting, they're impossible to paint, because they're not impossible to paint, but they're a lot harder to paint the rubber after the whole thing is fitted than they are trying to build them where they're steel wheels. You can build it and then paint it afterwards. There's no problem there. And these things will sort of show up when I'm doing the painting anyway. Okay, so like I said, that's it for this update. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the rest of the suspension done and the wheels on and the wheel caps. There's those little nuts again so that the wheels spin. Got the drive sprocket here at the back. We've got another drive sprocket here at the front. One is probably an idler, one is a drive sprocket. I don't know, or is this a double drive? Who knows? Who knows? I know that these things were a hybrid, so maybe it could be driven from both. I don't know. I don't know. But it's irrelevant because I'm not actually driving it. Thank God. So I'm just going to build up this side. I'm going to build up the other side, which is basically a repeat of this side, is it? Or does it tell me to do that? Yeah. If you notice, they're just telling you to do one side, but the other side is basically a repeat of the other side. That's why these the older instructions tend to be a little bit more lacking compared to, say, the more modern ones. More modern instructions now will give you a repeat of that at the other side. They might say, you know, it might be down here. You know, you do it for one side, and then the other side you do practically the exact same, but they'll show you in reverse. So I'll get the suspension and the wheels on. Come back then, and in the next update we'll move on then to the rest of the parts. Okay, these are the external parts. We've got some plates here in the front. We've got our figures then, and we'll be popping our figures in. Won't be gluing the figures down because they're going to be painted. Yes, and this is one of those things where you're going to have to sort of build a bit and then paint a bit. I mean, if the figures are already in, you can't really paint them. After the fact, it's going to be much, much harder. Okay, so that's it for this update. Join me again for the next update. And if you want to join me for the next update, and this is your first time joining the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel, and then hit the bell so you'll be notified as soon as I upload the next installment on this. And if you're already one of my subscribers and you're already, say, a seasoned modeler, you might pick up something new. You just might. You'd never know. Doubtful, but you never know. When it gets onto the painting, you'll probably find that a little bit more interesting. But you'll see my techniques and how I do things anyway. And I actually do go to the effect of cleaning off every piece. Make sure every piece is nice and clean, because then you can be guaranteed that if something is supposed to work, it'll fucking work. Simple as that. Okay, so we've got a sort of a reasonably movable suspension. Alright. Choppity choppity. So I'll see you in the next one, lads. Take care. And go out and buy yourself a kit. Build it. Enjoy it. What more is there to do? Catch you in the next one, lads. Stay safe.